All right, let's talk about business statistics. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Charts, graphs, a bunch of numbers. But really, what we're talking about is a powerful toolkit for making sense of a very messy world. It's all about turning noise into clear signals and turning hunches into confident, high-stakes decisions. And it all kicks off with one simple but absolutely massive question.
So, how do you make a billion-dollar decision? I mean, really, do you just go with your gut, flip a coin and hope for the best? Or is there a better way? This is exactly where the power of statistics comes in. It's the tool that helps us move from just guessing to actually knowing.
And the thing is, data is absolutely everywhere. It's in those customer satisfaction cards at your favorite restaurant. It's baked into the design choices for the products you see on the grocery store shelf. Every single one of these is a data point, a tiny piece of a larger puzzle that businesses are constantly trying to put together.
So, if we're going to be data detectives, our very first job is to organize the chaos. Before we can even think about finding answers, we have to sort through the evidence. And trust me, when you first get your hands on it, that evidence is almost always a complete and total mess.
Take a look at this. This wall of letters, this is what raw data actually looks like. It's from a real survey asking people where they'd ideally want to live. S for suburbs, T for town, you get the idea. Now, just by looking at this jumble, can you tell me what the most popular answer is? Of course not. No way. It's just noise. And this is the very first challenge every data detective has to face.
And this is where our first tool comes to the rescue: descriptive statistics. Seriously, just think of it as the science of creating order from chaos. It's how we take that jumbled mess of raw information and turn it into something we can actually understand.
And now, look at this. This is the exact same data from that messy wall of letters, but now it's organized into a simple bar chart. Instantly, a story just emerges. The noise becomes a clear signal. You've just turned chaos into a powerful, actionable insight, and you didn't need any complex math. You just needed to organize it.
But, organizing data is really just the beginning. Once we can actually see the patterns, we can start asking much bigger questions. We can use the data to test our big ideas. This is how we level up from a hunch to actual, solid proof. Check out this real-world example. Back in 2003, Major League Baseball was worried that games were getting way too long. So they brought in some new rules to try and speed things up. The billion-dollar question for the league was simple: did it actually work? That's not just a question. It's what we call a testable hypothesis.
Okay, here's the initial evidence. We look at the average, or the mean, game time from before and after the rule change. In 2002, the average was 172 minutes. In 2003, it dropped down to 166. So on the surface, it looks like it worked, right? But here's the critical statistical question. Is a 6-minute difference really meaningful, or could it just be random chance? And this is where statistics gives us a kind of superpower. Using a tool called a hypothesis test, we can actually calculate the odds that this 6-minute drop was just a random fluke. And the conclusion? The chances of it being random were less than 5%, which is a standard threshold in the world of statistics. That means the drop was real. It was statistically significant. And that is how you go from a hunch to proof. All right, our next detective skill is all about finding the hidden connections. It's not just about looking at one piece of evidence in isolation, but seeing how different clues might be related to each other. It's about connecting the dots. This is a fundamental question that businesses face every single day. When we see two things happening around the same time, are they truly connected, or is it just a pure coincidence? Getting this right is absolutely crucial, and statistics gives us the tools to tell the difference. For example, think about buying a new laptop. You might just assume that a higher rating from a site like PC World probably means it has more features. But is that actually true? Well, we can investigate by plotting each laptop on a chart called a scatter diagram. It's a really simple way to just see if a pattern starts to emerge from the data. This little visual check leads us to a super powerful technique called regression. And I know it sounds kind of complicated, but the idea is actually very simple. Step 1, you plot your data just like with the laptops. Step 2, you find the one single straight line that best fits the overall pattern of those dots. And then step 3, this is the really cool part, you can use that line to make educated predictions. So for example, you could predict the rating of a brand new laptop based only on its features. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, so we've organized data, we've tested ideas, and we've found relationships.
Now let's put it all together with a case study and see how these pretty simple tools can drive a multi-billion-dollar decision. So back in 2006, Disney bought Pixar for a stunning $7.4 billion. The question is, why? Was this just a creative impulse, a gut feeling, or was there a clear, undeniable statistical story that made this deal an absolute no-brainer?
So here's a look at the raw data, a quick sample of box office revenues from both Disney and Pixar in the years leading up to the sale. You can see some big hits on both sides, right? Finding Nemo for Pixar, Chicken Little for Disney. But trying to make a $7 billion decision from just looking at this table, it's like staring at that wall of letters all over again. You just can't see the real story.
But the moment we apply the simplest tool we have, the average, the story becomes crystal clear. This is the difference in average box office revenue per film. Over that period, Pixar's films, on average, made $372.4 million more than Disney's. That single number tells you the story. That's the statistical why behind a $7.4 billion decision. It wasn't a hunch, it was an investment backed by undeniable data.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's that statistics isn't just about math. It's a way of thinking. It's a mindset for navigating a world that is just overflowing with data and uncertainty.
Adopting this mindset empowers you to see the big picture hiding in all the chaos. It pushes you to challenge assumptions, including your own, and to demand proof. It helps you uncover those hidden patterns that other people might miss. And ultimately, it gives you the confidence to turn a mountain of data into a single, decisive action.
So the next time you're faced with a big decision, don't just go with your gut. Look at the information you have, no matter how messy it might seem, and ask yourself this one powerful question. What story is my data telling me? The answer? Well, it might just be worth billions,